Ooh. All right, let's get started with Savannah chat number 3. Got Joanna here, our director of beer, myself, on-premise manager, or I guess I'm DM of specialty accounts now.
There you go.
So yeah, all right, we're gonna go over some of our non-alcohol brands and give you guys some sales tactics and strategies and share some successes, how to sell these products and detail them a little bit. So Joanna, take it away.
Awesome. Most of you looks like I have met previously in my previous role here with Savannah Distributing a few years ago. But if you don't know me, my name's Joanna. I just joined the beer team as director of beer in early April, and I'm super excited to be back with the Savannah family and to talk about NAs today. We're going to focus on NA beer specifically, kind of what we would refer to as, like alcohol alternatives rather, or like beer alternatives. So we're looking to show you all the brands that we have and kind of talk about the success of these brands in the market and where we have, we've kind of cornered the market in a few ways, and outside of the big guys, we've really got a good collection of craft brands to push along with Athletic. So I'm going to talk about Athletic first. I think we're all pretty aware of that brand. It's been wildly successful. We certainly had it on focus earlier this year, which increased our success with it as well. But people are gravitating towards this type of beverage. Myself, personally, this is almost all I drink these days, which is wild for any of you guys that have drank with me in the past. It's just opened up a new door for me to enjoy a beverage at the bar with my friends, with my coworkers, etc., without having to worry about driving or, just feeling a little less clear-headed or whatever the case might be. So we really see non-alcs in general being consumed by alcohol consumers. So it's the same customer. They're just choosing something else instead for whatever personal or physical reasons that apply to them. So, these are not targeted towards folks that are, seeking sobriety necessarily or in that are total non-drinkers. We really see this same consumer drinking our other craft beer as well. So, when we think about it, let's think about it as just a new branch to the craft beer sector versus just for, just for folks that do not drink, right? So Athletic, we know and love this brand. Today I've got just to show you, I've got the Free Wave, which is their hazy. I've got the Run Wild, which is their classic IPA, more of a West Coast style, super bright and citrusy, a little less juicy. The Free Wave is going to be on the hazy side. We all know and familiar with that style. That's going to be a little bit more of those juicy, fruity kind of flavors in that IPA. And then I've got the Upside Dawn, which is a golden ale. This is going to be a little less hoppy than the other two. A little bit more malt forward, but it should give you kind of that classic ale flavor.
Are these the top 3 SKUs for this?
These are the top 3 SKUs. However, we're doing amazing with our seasonals. They came out with the Radler recently, which is absolutely delicious. That's the seasonal that's current right now. We also have the Cerveza, which is absolutely incredible. It's no secret to everybody here on the call that Mexican style beer and lager, specifically kind of those crisp, bright Latin imports, are
fastest growing beer category is Mexican.
Absolutely. And the Athletic Cerveza really speaks to that. It hits all the notes that you're looking for. And then we also have Athletic Light as well. I did send everybody a 750 sheet with all the SKUs listed in every brand that we talk about. So if you have any questions on that, obviously just double check inventory real quick. But that's kind of the gist. So as far as Athletic goes, this and its amazing success, I really want to show you guys some other things we have in the portfolio and then answer some questions about how we can pitch these or how we can kind of put ourselves as the category leader for non-alcoholic beers, building on the placements that we have with Athletic already.
Athletic currently is the number one NA beer in the country. Is that correct?
Yes,
And
and
where does it fall in our portfolio as, where is it ranking for us?
so for us, without without the Corona Modelo that we have down south in Savannah, Athletics ranking about 7 in
That's
revenue,
top 10 for an NA beer is pretty spectacular.
which is pretty crazy. And Athletic is one of the, I believe, number 10 in, as far as like IRI data goes, is in the whole craft sector, which is
that's great.
pretty crazy. Is it like one of the fastest growing, top 10 fastest growing brands?
Do we know the split on premise versus off premise?
No, but I can find that information with you guys. We are heavily.
Jessica, feel free. This is
Oh,
a
yeah.
chat. Unmute. If you got that off the top of your head, go for it.
Hey, let me jump in real quick on this. So I do want to say with Athletic, Run Wild is the number one SKU on the NA side of things. When we're looking at a full distribution side, unfortunately, Heineken is still number one, but that's solely due to how many different pack sizes they have, how many different avenues they are in. But Run Wild is the most purchased. I want to make sure we're understanding that. And then right behind it is actually Freeway. And that's because that hazy segment is huge. I mean, that's the number one style sold in the IPA side. When we're looking at that split right now for us, fortunately, it's more on the off-premise side. And that's solely because a lot of the on-premise on the outskirts of town did not jump on the NA bandwagon about a year and a half ago, when some of these off-premise stores are starting to see it, especially in the Northeast and out in California. As we know, it takes about 2 to 3 years for Georgia to jump on the train of what's going on the beer side of things. So we're sitting at about a 75-35 split. On-premise is a huge focus with Athletic. I sent out a sheet the other day that did talk about how that trend is growing, what to look for on the NA side, because everybody should have some form of a beer on there. And then just let you know, when looking full category on our end too, Athletic actually did jump up and is our number 4 brand across the board.
Cool.
Awesome.
House.
Athletic Light moves great for Mac Allen up in Woodstock, and he's a little north of Woodstock, Canton. Buyers like the Miller adjacent look, especially in the country clubs. It's a good answer. Good on-premise sales tactic there. I think a lot of you probably are calling on beer stores or liquor stores already, are seeing good Athletic success, and where the future growth, and not just Athletic, but the other NA brands is likely on-premise. And just as that one little add-on pitch when you're talking about other things, whether you're presenting a core 7 item in your on-premise accounts or whatever you're doing, saying, have you considered adding a non-alcohol beer? We have the number one in the category with Athletic. Or we have other great options. Maybe we want to transition to day pack now as the Athletic adjacent.
Yeah, so day pack unfortunately is being discontinued.
Well, never mind.
So I just found that out today, but we do have plenty of it in stock. So if you have some people, this is just a sparkling water infused with hops. This is not a malt, like a true beer type. So this can be sold pretty much anywhere non-alcs are, but it can be a nice alternative for somewhere that maybe is, really beer heavy, and they want to offer their customers something a little different.
I guess we should differentiate between the legalities of a pure NA product and a non-alcohol beer. A non-alcohol beer such as Athletic or Einbeck or Original Sin, a couple of the others we're going to go through, you do still have to have a beer license to sell those, because they have very trace amounts of alcohol.
Yeah, and we'll go through which ones do have trace amounts. Generally speaking, anything can be categorized as non-alcoholic if it's under 0.5%, which is pretty low, in the scheme of things. And generally it's even less than that, but that's just a disclaimer that's kind of put on the label. We do have a couple of 0.0% alcohol that we'll talk about.
Hey, Jojo, can I jump in real quick? I do want to make sure people are understanding why some of these you can send to NA accounts, not having a license. Atmosphere, great example. when we're differentiating the non-alc, it is if it ever had alcohol in it. Some of these true 0.0s, like Heineken, yes, it is a true 0.0, does not have trace of alcohol in it, but it had alcohol in it at one point. Atmosphere and Partake have never had alcohol and it never had the alcohol removed. So it is a true NA 0.0, can be sold to non-alc, not having a license. So it's kind of how you can understand the difference. People always ask, well, Heineken's a true 0.0. Well, yes, but it did have alcohol in it at one point. It was just fully removed.
Right, that's a good differentiator. Speaking of, Jared, I just saw your comment on Original Sin NA. I actually spoke to the powers that be about that, and essentially, since it's marketed as a cider and a non-alcoholic cider, it's even though it is 0%, unfortunately, at this point, the higher ups have decided that that's a gray area that we don't want to play with, sending that into completely non-alcoholic stores or restaurants. So for now, Atmosphere, Partake at 0.0, have the ability to be sold. We'll take it back up with the cider situation. There's plenty of non-alc ciders, but since it completely specifies and it looks exactly like it, yeah, Jared, I hear you on that, but I'll keep on keeping on.
That's a good point,
yeah.
Jerry, but let's stay on topic.
Yeah, I totally get it. It's just,
let's go over Atmosphere. This one's doing well for us too.
Atmosphere is great. I really like this one. This is a little bit different because it is a German style. It's gonna have that nice, sharp, dry hoppiness to it, but a super, kind of light to medium maltiness. It's delicious. It tastes like any classic German Pilsner that you've had before, without the alcohol. The Heineken 0.0, let's kind of go back to that. They cornered the market because they've been around for ages. And German and European non-alcs have been around for hundreds of years because people have been drinking them. So with that, the Germans know how to make really, really good non-alc beer. And because this isn't bottled in a green bottle like Heineken, you're not going to get those skunky notes from it being exposed to light. So perfectly delicious. This is something that can be sold right alongside of Athletic where you are having success, because it's not, it's in its own category as far as a European style, but in a nice contemporary pack and a can, which we love. Any questions on Atmosphere, guys?
400-year-old German brewery.
Yep, exactly. So Jonathan from Atmosphere is in town often. He is happy to make sales without bugging you too much until he's made the sale. So please just reach back out to him when he does contact you, because he's only helping you and helping us. So since we're talking about non-alc German beer, I brought out Einbecker. Many of you guys may know this. It's been in the portfolio forever. It's from one of the oldest German breweries in Germany, in Europe. The brewery was founded in the 1300s, if that gives you a good idea about how old this brewery is. But this is a great option in the bottle for maybe these higher end accounts or the accounts that Heineken 0.0 is popular because of the bottle feature. This is a awesome, European bottled selection to kind of give them as well. And on another note,
staying in Europe.
Yeah, staying within Europe, we've got Lachuf NA, which Lachuf is very classic, like Hefeweizen style, beautiful kind of weedy, unfiltered characteristics. It's been an incredible brewery for us. We're only continuing to partner with them more and more as we've received other brands in the portfolio, such as Boulevard and Duval. So LaChouffe non-alc, we have this as well. Again, in bottles, another nice option for those accounts that are looking for something that's European, Belgian style as well. All right, let's move on to Kit. Kit, we just picked up, this is one of the ones that came in, I would imagine at the beginning of the year. So we have several SKUs from them. Right now, I've got the Get Set, which is their wheat non-alc. And then we've got the On Your Mark, which is their American Blonde. Again, we've got a ton of different types of non-alc beers that will really capture any audience, whether on or off premise, and whatever style they're looking for as well. Kit is from Maine. It was founded pretty recently, and they're really just trying to add some great alternatives to this space. Next, we're going to talk about Partake. This brand is huge into the athletic arena. This is actually kind of more health driven than the other NAs. I mean, all non-alcs are by people that are trying to be conscious for some reason. This is particularly geared to the folks that are super health conscious. It's low carb, it's low calorie, it's non-alcoholic, and there's several flavors under the sun that we have, including variety pack. So this one is their peach goza. We don't have anything like that in the portfolio, and being peach, that's always great when we're talking about, you know, the state of Georgia and how much we love peaches here. So this is only 25 calories. It's super, super low calorie, and really geared again towards the health conscious folks. So they're huge into pickleball. They're actually partners with one of the national pickleball associations. So that's the type of folks that they're kind of targeting. You know, think of this as kind of like the Fit Vine of the beer portfolio. And then I've got the original Sin here. This came in rather recently as well. We've got 4 different SKUs. They're all listed on that 750 sheet I sent you. We're also getting these added to the non-alc sheet that I sent out last week. So we'll have these on there as well. This is not alcohol removed at all. This is juice, apple cider, and apple cider vinegar. So all of them have different flavors. This one in particular is made with blackberry juice. And the goal is to have an alternative that's completely alcohol free. So yes, I think personally that we should be able to sell this wherever. But until that's made official in Encompass, let's just hold off pitching it. But that's definitely on our radar. So these are really delicious. I've tasted them with an account recently and had some awesome feedback. You know, they're not too sweet. They're not too sugary, but they, you know, have the apple cider vinegar. So it's a nice acidic balance to the juices. Super drinkable as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
You go into Kit a little bit more. Where's Kit made?
So
I don't know much about this.
Kit is made in Maine, relatively new company. It's the first non-alc craft brewery in Maine that's independent. So they're very proud of that fact. They, you know, again, super new to the market, and we really haven't done a whole lot with them because I'm not sure how much everybody knows about them. But they have, the flavors are great. The feedback's been really good as well in the market, and their packaging is nice and eye-catching as well. I think Kit is probably more of a retail focused brand.
Yeah, Jojo, let me jump in real quick because this being Mental Awareness Month, so Kit guys launched in March with us. So like Jojo's saying, super new to the market. They have about 4 or 5 employees total. Company started in 2021, where 2 guys realized their mental health was being taken over really by alcohol, decided to create this product. And a lot of their money from the product goes to mental health, with it being Mental Health Awareness Month. Good things to talk about, especially with everything people are going through nowadays. A lot of people are actually switching over to these NA products because of their mental health. But really fun company, like JoJo was saying, and their wheat beer is phenomenal.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica.
So these NA beers, again, you guys are all very likely doing extremely well in your off premise with them already. That's where we're seeing the majority of the sales to begin with. So to identify what's next out of them is, getting more shelf placements in areas. Yeah, you're probably gonna hang up on them. Getting more shelf placements in areas like C-stores, where we can say, hey, you've got 8 or 9 of our top 10 brands. This NA beer is actually the one you're missing. It may be a surprise to a C-store owner that like NA is the next SKU, but frankly, they're probably already being pitched by Heineken to get an NA spot, and they likely already have it. So getting an Athletic as well, in addition to that, and using the facts like Athletic and Heineken are neck and neck in sales. These are actually more ordered and go through more beer, even though Heineken has more placements. That's kind of like the old Sweetwater versus Tropicalia thing. Creature Comfort sells a lot more Tropicalia by volume, even though Sweetwater has more placements in the market. Similar comparison here. But also identifying your on-premise accounts and looking at the menu and similar to how we do, where you can say, hey, here's what you don't have that you probably should. Maybe you haven't, maybe someone hasn't bought a bottle of mezcal yet. They maybe have a demand for it. Maybe it's an NA beer. Why don't you have a Pinot Grigio by the glass? That seems like a mistake. Everyone needs Pinot Grigio by the glass. Find that void. Find the account that's saying, like, what are they missing? You have to spend a lot of time looking at these accounts and what type of products sell in each type of account, and look at a menu and say, what are you missing? You're missing the boat on non-alcohol products. You should have a non-alcohol beer. You should probably have 2 mocktails or NA cocktails that are elevated, that are using high quality ingredients instead of just putting grenadine in a Sprite or whatever mocktail people have been doing up to that point.
Right.
That's an area of our expertise that we have to rely on and say, we're the beverage experts a lot of times, even more so than our accounts, and use your expertise to find the voids and find where you should be pitching. And you get pushback. You'll say, our customers aren't asking for that. And a lot of the times the response to our customers aren't asking for that is, how could you know what they're not ordering if they don't see it to order?
And I can speak from experience on that. If I don't see it on the menu, I don't always ask for it, because it feels, like I don't want to have that. It's not a confrontation, but if it's not on the menu, I'm not gonna just have them, I don't know, I can check, or whatever the case might be. So I'm way more likely to order it and spend money in the account if I know it's there, versus not knowing it's there and just sticking with club soda or something like that.
Sure.
So people are happy to pay for these and to pay the price of a normal beer.
$7 for an NA beer.
Easily.
I got no problem with it.
People that are drinking this don't have an issue doing that. We're seeing that people want to have those same social interactions with their friends or their local restaurants and bars, and they're happy to pay. Like, they don't care if they have a $30 tab that's NA, and they got to enjoy some time like they normally would without the effects of alcohol.
Does anybody have a success story they want to share? Somewhere that you've done well and you say, hey, I pitched it here and it worked, and here's how I did it. Feel free to hop on.
Hey guys, it's Snotty.
Hey Nathan.
Just to piggyback kind of what JoJo said, like the moment we put it on menu, like Heineken 00 sales just stopped at the account. And then visibility too behind the bar, like if they have a tall open door cooler, that's another positive vibe too.
Good stuff. Yeah, I like a big can cooler at a bar. Look and see what good stuff they've got instead of having to scan a menu or even ask for a menu sometimes in places like some of these bars.
For sure. And if they need any images or any digital assets from these brands to help promote it within these accounts, please reach out. We do have plenty of availability to make POS. Athletic has a great budget as well. So, keep that in mind if you have athletics somewhere already and you want some nice POS, especially on premise. Please let Jessica know, and we will be happy to do that for you guys. And then if there's anywhere that we can help support, please let me know as well. And if you need assistance tasting accounts, or you want, kind of want to see the pitch happening from someone on the beer team, we're happy to do that in addition. So
every one of our category managers or on-premise managers is going to keep reminding you to ask for help. A lot of folks don't feel like they need it, or feel like they're, oh, I've got the expertise, I'm good to go. It's not even that. I'm certain that you all do. Having an extra person with you, having a manager join you in a presentation, now it's hard to explain how far that goes. It shows the account we're taking them seriously. It shows the account that we value their time, we value their business, and most of us are pretty good at filling in the gaps of whatever your pitch is. You may miss something and say, hey, don't forget that this is also something that works, or gaps in your expertise. We're happy to help, and that's good brand training for you as well, to listen to some of our veteran salespeople or managers pitch these products and who've worked with these brands for a long time and know how to sell them. And of course, that's not just NA beer. And then don't sleep on the other NA products in the book. We have an absolutely outstanding NA wine book. Not only are we probably the leaders in the category for NA beer, that may be the case for NA wine too. The brands like Oddbird and St. Viviana, those are great. They're just a second part of the conversation of saying, hey, you don't have an NA beer, you probably should. You also don't have an NA wine, you probably should. This is something that you can put in a tiny little section right under your sparkling wine or rosé section. Here's 2 NA wines we have available, one by the glass, one by the bottle only. And then brands like Wilfred's or brands like Oddbird, RTD, all that stuff. One of the quick notes on some of those, folks that aren't used to NA products, especially wine, NA beers, especially Athletic, really does, like, the quality of those is neck and neck with just regular IPA and whatnot.
Absolutely.
They're very, very high quality. NA wine is a good bit different than wine. They're even the really good ones are a different style. They just are different. And if folks aren't used to trying the NA products, also like the NA spirits, they taste different. Sampling can be a little off-putting because the folks are like, well, this is not what I was expecting it to be. If they don't have experience with the NA products and trying them, you definitely want to disclaimer. Reminder, you're not having a gin. This is something that's very different than gin. You're not having a tequila. It is different, but they can be used to make those style of drinks very, very well.
Yes, and that's the key with those non-alc spirits, is to mix them or have them mix it in a cocktail.
Yeah, make an NA margarita.
Yeah, it's not gonna sipping something neat. Like, there's nothing that can really, duplicate that distilled spirit type of thing.
We've just had that come up a lot, so I wanted to mention it, that it's different. It's a different thing. Make sure they know. Don't side by side this with Citadel or Merle's or gin. It's not the same thing. It's not fair to compare them.
One thing I wanted to mention too is that there's a local non-alc company called Right Side Brewing that's actually going out of business. So if you see Right Side Brewing in shelf sets that you're able to replace, or on menus that you're able to replace, this is the time to do it. I think they announced that they were closing about a week ago. So this is right, we're right at that turning point. I was able to drink one the other day, and I have zero doubts that anything in our portfolio will outshine the product as it is, just taste and quality wise. Like, it was, pretty, subpar.
On pace to basically being a brewery in the state closing every month at this point. All right, let's see. Last person. Somebody else had something to say. We'll end this. Anyone else got any other comments or stories or anecdotes or anything like that they want to share? Kind of right here at the end of the meeting, we'll let y'all go to work.
All right, that's cool.
All right.
Well, call me, text me, bug me, whatever. Anyone on the beer team about these 2 samples of pretty much everything are.
Well, yeah, let's just sampling. Most of the time, because it's difficult to sample beer, because you're like, well, I don't need a pull case. have your DM pull the samples, have the DM just put them in. If you need samples of any of these products, you can reach out to beer category managers as well if you'd like, but your DM, whoever your DM is, hey, I need these beer samples. Can you put them in for me? They'll put them in, grab them. Anything that you don't need, take to the sample room and just load up in the sample room, and then check the sample room for samples as well. Sometimes it's a slow process. You need 4 or 5 specific beers. Even if 2 or 3 of them over in the sample room, sure, we'd love it if we just pulled stuff that was already there. But obviously, if you need specific stuff on a specific day, go ahead and put it in through a sample request, because you don't want to waste your time trying to do a same day sample, which isn't always possible.
True. And then just lastly, before we go, I didn't touch on our BrewDog non-alc as much, just because it's been in our portfolio a while. So, we still have some non-alc options from them as well. It's out of Ohio. We have the Brew Pub here. So that can be a nice little kind of, segue if people, they have the local brew pub, etc. So those are available, and they make some styles that are not necessarily included in what we've talked about today. So, make sure you're including that as well.
BrewDog has NA on draft. That's a good point. I think that's the only one we have that has NA draft, if that ever comes up. All right, it's 30 minutes. Thanks, guys. We appreciate your attendance. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. There will be a VOD on our YouTube channel if you'd like to watch this again, or just, you like the sound of our voices. We'll go ahead and call it. Y'all have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Appreciate it, guys.